All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Q&A live stream number 94. Twas the night before Christmas. It is approximately 7:59 p.m. right here on the East Coast in the great state of New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. So Christmas is approximately, I don't think my AirPods are connected to my computer. Hold on one second.
My apologies, everybody. I had to connect my AirPods rather, to the computer. Hello, Elevators of Steel City by Otis Elevator Fan 102. How are you? Hello, Carlos Elevators 2. How are you? Hello, Mahano Sonic Boom. So how's everybody tonight? Yes, I know I said it before. Um, so we are one day away from Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day is on Friday. And 2020 is almost done. Personally, I am more than excited for this year to be over. This year has been a very tough time for certainly retail. And it's unfortunate that it got to this, but we're going to do a little bit of discussing why some of these retail stores were failing before the pandemic, and they got the perfect excuse. This isn't even a theory I made up. It's unfortunately it is reality. But I did want to go over it in particular in this live stream tonight. So again, we're going to give people a couple more minutes to join this Q&A live stream number 94. So hi, Scorch, how are you? One second, guys. So anyways, but yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Yes, it is 8 p.m. So no really major closings are currently happening. I heard Pet Value is finishing up their liquidation sales in the next couple of days. I heard Love's Furniture is going to be closing 13 stores, including 10 in Michigan. JCPenney is closing 15. However, most of them are one floor, and some of them aren't mall. I'm not surprised personally. That was definitely a low performer. We're actually having a GameStop near me close. We've had two so far close. It was in Hackensack, I believe, but it was such a low performer. And personally, I prefer the Lodi location over the Hackensack location. It's just a better GameStop overall. But I'm not surprised that they're closing Westfield Sunrise. Personally, it's probably not a top performer considering the way that the shape of the way that the mall is. It just doesn't make sense for them to continue operating a store in that mall, unfortunately. Considering they have not yet replaced the entire JCPenney spot, Sears is probably going to crap the bed any day, and Macy's could very well look into closing that store next year. Like I said, by January of 2021, we can expect a new closing list. I don't want to make speculation yet. I do know, I have made speculation before, but I do know which locations are likely to be on that list for next year. And I bet it's going to be a big list given the pandemic, unfortunately. Yeah, it really depends on how well the location is in the area and what type of area it's in, you know. Oh, Carteret. I've heard of Carteret. It's Carteret. That's near Islin. And what's the other town? I think Carteret borders Westfield. I'm not sure. No, it's not. Woodbridge Center, J.C. Penney is not on that list. No. It's there's none in New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania. It's a one-story one that's closing. Most of them are one stories, and most of them aren't even connected to malls. But it makes sense that they're closing the 15 personally. I mean, they were in like the middle of nowhere. Yes. Oh, there was an ANS. No, 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 no. I don't think there was an ANS in Hempstead. Oh yeah, there was. That I actually didn't know about. It was on Hempstead Turnpike. Hmm. Oh, because you know what? It's the town of Hempstead. Because it's a whole hamlet system out there. Like Huntington Station is a hamlet. It's really weird of how New York does their towns. It's like New Jersey, we don't have hamlets and we have like villages. Hamlets, I always find that to be weird. New York and Pennsylvania do that. I don't know about Maryland, but I know New Jersey does not do that, which actually makes it a lot easier. When all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. That's funny. Merry Christmas, happy Merry early Christmas, Joe. Yeah, I guess it was on Hempstead Turnpike, and then I think they relocated to Roosevelt Field, I believe. That I actually did not know about. I live right next to Hempstead. Ugh. Yeah, Hempstead is very sketchy from what I hear. Hempstead would be like Patterson. If you could compare the two, Hempstead is like actually Hempstead would be like Hackensack. Yeah. Hempstead is like Hackensack. Yeah, Hempstead, New York. It's a very sketchy area of Long Island. It's yeah, no, it's not a it's a very sketchy area. It's an area where you need to be careful. It's not a nice one. No, Belk won't happen. I personally don't think Belk wants to come to the Northeast. Yeah, I mean, the only Lord and Taylor, New Jersey that's slated for a replacement is the downtown Westfield location, and that unfortunately is meeting the wrecking ball to become low-income housing. Such a sad fate for that 1960s building architecture. It's a shame, but the good news is I was able to document it, and it's going up whenever they announce that the store's closing. Yes, they did have a location at King of Prussia. I believe um, it was either in the former Macy's or the Bloomingdale's. It was somewhere where the Macy's and the Bloomingdale's are now. But they did have a location at King of Prussia. They ANS also had a location in Monmouth Mall, which is interesting. They were actually even supposed to open up one at Freehold Raceway Mall, but because of the whole Macy's and ANS merger, they just went with Macy's instead. But yeah, ANS actually had a location at Monmouth Mall, believe it or not. Yeah, Monmouth Mall is one of the malls in New Jersey that I do want to get to down the road. It's just right now I don't have a desire to go there at the moment, but that could change if another store decides to close at that mall. The ANS Willow Grove Park. It's another good question. Yeah, Willow Grove Park is kind of like Bridgewater Commons, almost. It has that Bridgewater Commons feel because it is a three-level mall. Um, I can't even believe the mall still has a Sears. That amazes me. Um, yeah, Sears was the B. Altman and Company store. Abraham and Strauss became Strawbridge's and Clothier, and then it closed in 2006, which is now where the Cheesecake Factory at that mall is. No, Merry early Christmas. Yep, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. No, it was Abraham and Strauss, and then it became Strawbridge's and Clothier. Ow, Jesus, bathroom. No, I did not know that. Wow. Did that just happen tonight? I don't live in Indiana, but wow, that's insane. I think it's going to be that way for a while, unfortunately. I heard Pet Value Supply Plus is taking over. Pet Supply Plus is taking over some Pet Value stores. Makes sense. My mall has a bot. Yeah, I know which mall you're talking about, Woodbridge Center. So the Moderna and Pfizer have their COVID vaccines approved. Who is next? I don't know yet what's going to go in that space. Is there any Kmart stores left? There is about 33, but that number is dwindling down to 31 because three of them are liquidating: Big Bear, California, and two in Puerto Rico. So Moderna and Pfizer have their COVID vaccines approved. Who is next? Well, according to the New York Times, which is, I literally only use the New York Times to literally just track the vaccines. I don't really care about the newspaper otherwise. I just like tracking the vaccines. So far, three are approved. Um, the next company, I believe, is going to be CureVac, I believe. That is going to be the next one. CureVac and Johnson and Johnson, I think, are going to be next. They haven't made the announcement yet about that. Oh, cool. I've never heard of the Bagel Boss guy. Hi, Ultra Eric. How are you? Well, Target is considered an essential retailer somehow, so I'm not surprised. Yes, CureVac is a double dose. Wow, it's pretty ambitious of Johnson and Johnson. Was Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus going to get another store on Long Island? Well, here's the thing. There was never supposed to be a Neiman Marcus at Roosevelt Field. There was this mall called um, the the mall at Oyster Bay, and that was going to be a Taubman mall that was going to have a Nordstrom and a Neiman Marcus. However, the town rejected it for years, and Taubman finally got out and sold the property to Simon, which they're going to use for mixed redevelopment now. And not only that, during that time, Neiman Marcus got out of the project because for many years they wanted that's where they wanted their store on Long Island, but now they got out and they put a Neiman Marcus in the Roosevelt Field Mall. So it just makes sense at the end of the day that they're not going to be having two locations. But Nordstrom, I think, should open up a second door. But I think, given the situation of the pandemic, I don't think it's ideal right now. I could change my opinion, but right now I don't think it's a good idea for Nordstrom to open up a new location. I'm still confused why the Lord and Taylor Garden City has a modded Montgomery Kone. Apparently, something happened in the rainstorm with the machine room, and that's why they had to do that modernization. The store's elevator was never scheduled to get modernized. I think, however, due to a snowstorm, they had to what's it called? Modernize the elevator completely. It was such a terrible mod too. It makes the Schindler MT at the Westfield Garden State location look a lot better, and also the Kone, the modded Kone at Fashion Center. I never really liked that Lord and Taylor personally, but my favorite Lord and Taylor on Long Island has to be Manhasset, just because of its uniqueness of being a freestanding one. That one is pretty unique, as almost a pretty unique, and then the other unique one is Scarsdale. City View Center in Ohio. Was that a Right Sun Films video? No drinks in a Kmart. I heard that too. I checked the New York State warrant notice. Oh, well, that makes sense. How many days does the Lord and Taylor's have in their liquidation sales? Well, the thing is, Lord and Taylor is doing a phased closing, which is a really interesting attempt. I think this was done definitely by Hilco Merchants. So the stores, they're not closing any Pennsylvania stores yet. They are closing two in New Jersey, Rockaway Town Square and Livingston First. Long Island, they're closing Westfield South Shore and Walt Whitman, and they're also closing Yonkers First, which respectfully, those locations were announced much earlier in August. But I think those are the only five closing first. Willowbrook, I'm surprised they're not closing early, but I guess that one's a pretty profitable store, and they want to maximize as many profits as possible before liquidating. I mean, again, this is also the rest of the remaining fleet is subject to change given the uncertain charted territories of the pandemic. And if new restrictions are introduced, you know that those Lord and Taylor stores will never open again. So, unfortunately, it is a time ticking bomb for those stores. They could close in the next 3 weeks. They could close in 5 weeks. We don't know. It all depends on the direction of the pandemic and if things get really bad. But hopefully it doesn't get to that again. And hopefully people can just be smart for the next 6 months. And then finally in the summer, we can defeat the COVID-19 pandemic. I do like bananas, yes. Lord and Taylor Paramus closing. There's two of them in Paramus, Fashion Center and Westfield Garden State. January, February, that is subject to change, depending on the situation of the pandemic. Well, TJ Maxx is under the same family that Marshalls and Home Goods are. It's TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods, HomeSense, and Sierra Trading Post. Eastgate Mall in Cincinnati, Ohio. I've heard of it. Yes, it was in the Pavilion. The A&S, the King of Prussia Mall, is where the Pavilion is now. It was Strawbridge's until they moved them Strawbridge's to the Plaza when Hex left the Philadelphia area. Oh, wow. Did not know that. What's your opinion on Westfield South Shore? It's definitely a step down from Westfield Garden State Plaza, but it's probably Westfield's most profitable mall in Long Island compared to Westfield Sunrise. I'm sorry, Sunrise Mall NY. But yeah, I mean, Westfield South Shore is definitely the better contender when it's paired up against Westfield Sunrise. Sunrise, unfortunately, is a dying mall structure, and they're already in talks with Urban Edge for them to take over the mall. So I think the mall's done at this point. No, it won't be. Lord and Taylor is closing completely, and the building is probably going to get redeveloped just like the Sears. So I don't think that's going to be a department store ever again. Eastgate Mall in Cincinnati. Wow. No, I have not. I'm sure it's one of the. I'm sure it's a dead mall. I bet. And, oh, hey, Yankee fan, how are you? Hi, Alex P18, how are you? Do you love FA? What is it? Five Nights at Freddy's? No. How will Walt Women Shop survive without Lord and Taylor? So the thing is, Walt Women Shops still has a Macy's. It still has the Long Island's only Saks Fifth Avenue, and it has a Bloomingdale's. I think the mall can manage. It just can't afford to lose another anchor, meaning it can't lose Saks and it cannot lose Bloomingdale's because then that mall is in some deep crap. But knock on wood that those two stores won't close. The reason why Walt Women Shops is good for now is because Macy's, that's a top performer for Macy's and Walt Women. They have one of the most top performing Bloomingdale stores in the country. And of course, because that's the Walt Women Shops has the only Saks Fifth Avenue on the entire island of Long Island. So I don't think that Saks Fifth Avenue is going anywhere. Knock on wood, of course. So it it was the night before Christmas. Had not had too many closings. Palisades. I don't know about that. Eastgate Mall has a J.C. Penney, Kohl's, and Dillard's clearance center. Ooh, Dillard's clearance center. Yeah, that mall's in trouble. The fact that it's a Dillard's clearance center, that means that mall's in trouble. Because when Dillard's downgrades stores, that means that it's not a top performer, typically. Same here. I'm glad the semester is finished. Hello, Super Techno Cat. How are you? Nice. Yeah, I guess that's an upside, but it's a yikes when you have a dealer's clearance center. That means your ball's in trouble. Do you play Among Us? No, I don't. Interesting. How will the fashion district of Philadelphia survive without a Century 21? I think there's enough in the fashion district. Um, yeah, I mean, I think there's enough like stores and stuff. I mean, you still got a Marshalls. There's stores. Yeah, no, there's still stores. I mean, there's a Ross. There's options. There's choices. And Five Below, Nike Factory. Yeah, I mean, there's options. So I don't think it's totally in trouble, but it is on some shaky ground. Yes, I will agree. Century was probably a huge loss for that. Am I the only one that searches store closings in Google search news every day? You're not alone. I do the same thing actually. Do you love Target? It's okay. I don't shop there a lot though. They don't really have a dedicated grocery store. Yeah, Westfield Garden State's doing well, although it is losing a Lord and Taylor, unfortunately. But the whole company is going out of business. Yeah, they're all gone now. Stay home. Hold on, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's part of Dick's Sporting Goods. My local New World Mall in Flushing is under very heavy security due to the fact because of hand temperature checks. I don't understand that heavy security for temperature checks. That doesn't make any sense. I think that's a COVID thing. A mall doesn't go under heavy security due to the fact for temperature checks. Why would a mall put no? Yeah, they'll do temperature checks, but we've never had temperature checks at like stores. They never implemented that. That's really weird. Very weird. Well, guess what? My home state has only four Kmart's. Westwood's the last one in my area, and then we have Belleville, Kearney, and Avenel, which is near Woodbridge. So we only have about four left, but I know that they're selling off fixtures and stuff. Yeah, MacArthur Center definitely would be in trouble. And that's in Norfolk. That's not even near like Washington, D.C. Yeah, I mean, it's not even owned by Taubman anymore. Yeah, that mall's in trouble. Lord and Taylor, it was Kone because of Hudson Bay. My friend is being very funny on the live stream tonight. No, they're not doing temperature checks. I'll explain that in a minute. Yes, Kone, Bloomingdale's Furniture. I don't have a favorite songs. Yeah, Smith Haven lost J.C. Penney and Sears. Walt Whitman lost Lord and Taylor. What's my favorite song? I can't really play it because YouTube loves hitting people with copyright strike. Bloomingdale's Furniture. Well, no, that's really just a relocation into the existing Bloomingdale store. But well, it never opened. The company went bankrupt. It's probably not going to survive. And Freehold is really in deep crap right now. But I'm more so Livingston, although the Sears will be a vaccination center. But I mean, great. But that's a short-term solution. That's not a long-term solution, unfortunately. Yeah, no, we don't. It really depends. So let me answer your question. So no, none of the malls, at least where I'm living, they don't do temperature checks. Now, in the stores, it's a much different story. It specifically depends on the store you go inside. For an example, if you go inside a department store, they're not going to do temperature checks. They might have people at the fronts to maintain a certain capacity inside the store. But no, I've never been to a mall where I have needed to have a temperature check before entering the property. I could see why they would do that with the New World Mall, but I don't know. They haven't really done that with other malls. But in the little stores, yes, I would absolutely see that because those tiny little stores within the big Mecca shopping mall, I could totally see why they want to do temperature checks with those because those are much smaller spaces compared to the actual shopping mall structure. Do you know the RMS Queen Mary? I don't think so. Public Public Lands is an outdoor store kind of similar to REI. We don't have one around here, so I guess I'm gonna assume that you're right on that one. Yeah, Bloomingdale's has a contract with Schindler because they're with Macy's, and we all know that Macy's has a contract with Schindler. Century 21 did not get built at Roosevelt Field, thank God, because that would have been bad. I think it would have benefited the mall, but I guess in a way, it's kind of good that they didn't go in because they would be on the same turf as Macy's. So I guess it's kind of a good thing that they didn't open up the store there. Maybe. Well, Ridge Hill's losing Lord and Taylor, but Paramus Park has a Stu Leonard's. Although I've heard many good things about Ridge Hill. Schindler MTs are not really losses. I know where Westfield Hawthorne is. I don't know. Oh, public lands. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Dylan D. Jesus. There's so many things coming in the chat. Yeah, Ridge Hill's losing to Lord and Taylor. REI, Schindler. No, I was not there that day. I was only at Roosevelt Field twice, 2014 and 2015. Thanks, Dom. Appreciate it. May Company. I think it will. Saks, my Saks Fifth Avenue has a set. Yeah, that's an all fifth, I think. Sorry, there's a lot of people. Do you know who has a contract with REI? Schindler. Um, the MT is really no loss though. True or false? No, gyms are not closed in New Jersey. They're operating, I think, at 25 or 33% capacity. I guess it really depends on who builds the building or whatever the prop, or if they're leasing the space. That could be it. It depends really on the leasing agreement. I'll definitely answer that one that Scorch just said in the chat. Merry Christmas. Oh, thank you. You too. Merry Christmas. They did. They switched between Dover and Montgomery back in the day. All fifth, and that was probably built with the property owner's contract. I'm sure it will. Best Westfield, Best Simon Mall, and Best Taubman Mall. Best Westfield Mall, it's a tie between Westfield Topanga and Westfield Garden State Plaza. Best Simon Mall, Roosevelt Field and King of Prussia. And Best Taubman Mall, the Mall of Short Hills and West Farms. I think those are Dover. I'm kind of into the whole thing. That's why. Yes, I knew. Yeah, I knew about the Bed Bath and Beyond in Manhasset. That was another department store at some point. Yeah, it's the Hudson Bay contract, unfortunately. It's a lot of cases, but I mean, think about all the vaccines we have. So I think we're going to get through it. No, I mean, Sunrise was doomed from the start, but what's it called? But I like Westfield South Shore. Chris, when will you get your vaccine? I'm gonna have to say somewhere between late March and early May. I am gonna have to get it, and everyone on this live stream is gonna have to get it. So I'm not alone in this case. Yeah, but from what I hear, they're putting in a Stop and Shop. Did Walmart kill Sunrise? Yeah, it did, and then when it left, it became a dead mall. Have you ever been to Manhattan? Of course. Yeah, that was the double Macy's stores. I always thought that to be weird, having two Macy's inside the mall. Yes, I think so. Although it depends on the area that you're in. Very few Macy's stores or and Bloomingdale stores are closed right now, which is a good thing. Which mall in New York is worse, the Shops at Nanuet or Westfield Sunrise? Well, considering the Shops at Nanuet's going to be getting a new Stop and Shop in the old Fairway, I'd have to give this one to Westfield Sunrise. The thing is with Westfield Sunrise, the JCPenney spot has been vacant for almost 3 years now. The Sears is in really sad shape, and I personally think the building is going to close at some point. Um, the and the Macy's store could very well close because I mean it's that one I think is a low performer for them, but it surprisingly did better than Hicksville and Comac, which to me is surprising. Yeah, it's still closed. It closed in 2017. In the former Fairway Market, I think it's a new concept they're trying, which makes sense. They want to get out of that old one. And you know what? It does rebirth some life into that struggling area of New York, which makes sense. What is a mall nearby you? American Dream, Westfield Garden State Plaza, Bergen Town Center. It's not called the Outlets anymore. The Shops Riverside and Paramus Park and Fashion Center, but that's not really a mall anymore. Yeah, they just did a really nice renovation to that Bloomingdale's. Like it even blows away Short Hills actually, and Short Hills is still nice. Yeah, it's upscale, not as upscale as Manhasset, but it's pretty upscale. Walt Women Shops. How's Stop and Shop doing with this whole pandemic? I'm afraid they're not opening more stores until everything is back to normal. First of all, Stop and Shop. No, the Stop and Shop in Nanuet, that's a relocation. It depends geographically where you live. Makes sense. So Stop and Shop is considered an essential retailer. So what that basically means is because they had essential goods in their grocery store, they didn't have to close it all this year. They didn't have to. I mean, excluding holidays, but they didn't have to close it all this year. They didn't have to close when the numbers were spiking. Yeah, they had to limit people inside the store, and yes, there were lines. And did the lines suck? Of course, they sucked. I had to wait in lines at BJ's Wholesale Club. I had to wait in lines outside of ShopRite. That wasn't fun, but it's much more crowd control, which is a good thing, I guess. I don't know yet when that ShopRite is opening up. Why was Bergen Outlets recently renamed Bergen Town Center? Simplification, and I guess they didn't really like the Outlets name, and they figured that the mall is so successful, they're better off just removing it. But yeah, they did drop the Outlets name, which personally to me makes sense. It's much more simplification, and I think it's a smart move too. Are they announcing an open? No, there's no opening date. They did have one way aisle. Same thing with Walmart. Yeah, I mean Roosevelt Field's a big one, that's for sure. Kone. They have a contract with Kone, although I heard it was switched to Schindler recently. Well, Lord and Taylor and Saks Fifth Avenue had Kone, but well, no, yeah, they did have Kone because of Hudson Bay. Schindler, because they were part of May Company, and my guess is May Company had a contract with Schindler. Nope, they're not closing any more stores at the moment, although that could change come next month, which is coming up fast. Yes, the Shops at Riverside is in Hackensack, but it's still part of that whole Bergen County corridor, the whole Paramus corridor. Yeah, it's not in Paramus, but it's still part of that whole mall corridor. Somebody on Sears Layoffs just posted about vaccination centers, which is smart. It is a short-term solution, and I guess once the pandemic passes, they'll replace them. Yeah, Chewbacca Roosevelt Field, one of my favorites. Well, considering the Christiana Mall is the biggest mall in the state of Delaware, which is the nation's first state, believe it or not, yeah, I would not see any closings. Apparently there was leakage with the hydraulic oil, so they had to completely take the elevators out. I don't think no. Macy's won't leave Bridgewater Commons. That is a top performer. That's definitely a top performer for them. I don't think they're going to dump that store. Plus, it's far enough away from, say, Menlo Park where they don't need to close it. Plus, you still have Bloomingdale's there, so the mall's okay for now. But again, a lot can change between now and the end of next year. Yeah. Oh, they break all the time at Roosevelt Field. It's terrible. Yeah. No, and that mall doesn't even use Kone anymore. They use what's it called? They use Excel. They lost their contract with Kone. I mean, good riddance, but it's not my favorite mall, at least. Macy's at Westwood Garden State. It's an all right Westinghouse. It's not really like special. Yes, it will continue to stay open for now. Well, you just have to walk and see what you can find. That's what I do typically if I have a little bit of extra time on my hands. In a way, Willow Grove Park, I think, feels like another Bridgewater Commons. I don't know if you guys get that. Like, you get that Bridgewater feeling, except the only difference is Willow Grove Park is all three floors of stores. I kind of get that feeling where it feels like, it really does feel like, say, something as Bridgewater Commons. I don't know. Do you guys get that feeling where it feels like you're at Bridgewater Commons? It's a top performer too. I'm not sure, but I know that Macy's for a very short period of time operated two stores at Walt Whitman, and I guess that was the transition period. I think Macy's could close Woodbridge Center because it is too close to Menlo Park. Here's the thing. The Woodbridge Center location, they renovated the cab. So I don't think that Macy's store is going anywhere. Plus, for some reason, they use that store for some purpose. There's some sole purpose of that store being around. The other thing is, it's not a totally dead mall there. Well, if it doesn't have another anchor casualty, it definitely can't afford another anchor casualty. Um, the thing is, the mall already lost its Lord and Taylor, okay, and it lost its Sears at the height of the pandemic back in April when things were really bad around here. It's some reason Sears was able to still liquidate. So The first Macy's that I believe will close in Middlesex County, the next one, the first being some other town. I believe the next Macy's to close will be Brunswick Square, in my opinion. That'll be the next one to go. That Macy's will probably close next year too, most likely. I don't think so. Right now, just Lord and Taylor, but that could change on the flip of a dime. Did Simon ditch the mall at the source and bought Roosevelt Field? See, the thing is with that, Simon owned both. They owned Roosevelt Field and they owned the mall at the source. Simon, but they used ThyssenKrupp because that's like one of their flagship properties. Personally, I would love to see that with Short Hills. If they do that tile, oh my god, they make Short Hills freaking beautiful. I don't even know what they would call it personally. Do they call it Short Hills? A Simon Mall? That could be something. Yeah, absolutely Macy's Livingston will go. You got a backstage in West Orange, and you have a Macy's at Short Hills, which just got the whole cab renovated. That Macy's will absolutely go at Livingston, considering they no, of course they love wiping out Taubman architecture, which is just a shame. No, but Simon finally sold the source when they found that it wasn't profitable enough. Plus, they already own Roosevelt Field, so what was the point of owning a mall that was dying? ThyssenKrupp does future. Wait, I'm all over the place right now. Future plans for the Alice Bergentown Center. I'm thinking a second level wing in the former Century 21 spot, a possible small little restaurant, and and then a new second floor wing. Personally, do you know Thicket the Bush? No, I don't. I don't think so, except maybe Sunrise. That one might go, but South Shore I think is safe. Green Acres is definitely safe. That cab just got renovated. What's another one? Roosevelt Field will not close. Waltman will not close, and Smith Haven, I guess somehow. Well, that definitely has a reason now, considering they closed Comac. Um, it was mergers with a big key factor. Why do Simon Malls do not like filming? It depends specifically on the Simon property. And I've been to so many others where there's just not like security around. Like I've been to Quaker Bridge, Rockaway, Livingston, even Menlo Park. I've never really run into issues with filming. It's only really Riverside personally. That's like the only mall where I have issues apparently. So yeah, that seems to be the only one because I've been to so many other different Simon Properties groups, and I've never really had issues with filming there. Like the last Simon Mall that I went to was Quaker Bridge, and I didn't really have an issue filming there. Yeah, I had to watch my ASSS, but I didn't have like issues with security guards. No, it does not. That's why I do believe that Macy's is going to close next year. But I'm not surprised. They're not good. They are not they're not big on photography either. Does Macy's Livingston? Oh no, it does not. Yeah, they're pretty good ones. Roosevelt Field number one, Bolton number two, Smith Haven number three. Makes sense. Yeah, Microsoft stores went away. I like Riverside too. It's just security there sucks. But anyways, all right. So I think people are leaving the live stream for tonight. So we're actually going to go ahead and end the live stream for tonight, guys. So thank you again for what. Yep, Bloomingdale's only has 2 stores. Thank you guys again for watching, and that's